Hey dude, you wanna see this really cool weapon I just designed? I did it myself. No help from that frickin' shell endor guy. Goddamn loony. Oh yeah, I'd love to see.
So my thought process with my last video, designing new Splatoon modes, was that if I got at least 50 views, I could mentally justify making another. Needless to say, I think I can justify it. Jesus guys, you really smashed that out of the park. Thank you so much for that. Even then, looking back at it, there's already so many things I wish I did differently in that video. First video essay or not, I just didn't handle the script well. For instance, mentioning certain YouTubers I didn't realize were, not so nice, if you will. Clue. Not talking about Failbolt or Virus. Alongside just forgetting to mention certain aspects of the modes, I somehow completely forgot about mentioning how subs and specials would work in hide and seek, along with other things. I even had notes meant to remind me. It seems the pressure of my first video essay kinda got to me. But hey, that's how we improve, and hopefully I'm here to deliver a much better video to everyone. So thanks for the awesome suggestions and ideas in the comments of that video. There were some crazy fun ideas from you all. Regardless, let's get into the actual vid now. Splatoon has to have some of my favorite weapon designs out of any game. There's something so inherently fun with their concepts, especially when they use real-life art materials or objects and turn them into practical weapons. God, I love weapons in Splatoon. I mean, for effect's sake, they turned a garden hose, umbrella, and a bathtub into deadly weapons. That's hilarious! And for some reason, it just works so damn well. So out of love for these wacky as hell designs, I wanted to go ahead and make my own weapons alongside in-game kits for them. Or at least try to design in-game kits for them. Also, if this video does well, I will make a part 3 designing subs and specials. So like, comment, and sub, you know, the YouTube thing, and we'll see where we go from there. Just a quick side note, all names are not final. I am so bad at naming things, it's insane. I'm very open to changing it. I'll heart the comment that I like the most. The Kelp Kettler is a high-powered tea kettle / coffee maker hybrid that specializes in long-distance sloshing. A trend I've noticed and love is the fact that a lot of slosher weapons are closely designed after household appliances. For instance, the slosher machine, Bloblobber, and the Explosher, which is made of a jet heater for people who are unaware. This would continue to follow that designing convention, alongside having a unique mechanic as well, as all those other ones do too. Sloshing machine has a fun arc to it, the Explosher, well, explodes. Bloblobber has wholly unique projectiles in the form of its bubbles, etc. As for how the Kettler will work, it will launch in a mostly straight line, very similar to the paint trail of the machine, with it being able to have quite a bit of range. However, unlike the machine, it will have lower damage values, having a similar damage base to the Slosher. Though, you gotta remember, this is a kettle. This ink is being launched at blistering hot temperatures, and due to that, once the ink lands, it'll have a steam effect in place for a little less than a second, in which if it touches enemies, it gives them the effects of toxic mist for about a second or so, or whatever is more balanced, I don't know. Potentially allowing the Kettler to get in a few more shots to kill the enemy. Because remember, you're trading off damage for range in this ability. I was thinking perhaps the steam effect could give teammates passive buffs when it is active, make it more support-based, yet I think that'd be giving it too much to work with. Tell me what you think in the comments if you want, but for now, I think we'll leave it with just the debuff on enemies. The Kettler has okay handling, not being super fast or super slow, alongside being middleweight. As for the subs and special, this is the section I struggled the most with, and that goes for all the weapons. For the Kettler, it doesn't particularly need a poking tool, so Fizzy and Burst Bombs are not great. I mean, Burst Bombs are amazing, but maybe that's a good reason not to give it to him. I imagine it struggles like hell with close corner combat, so perhaps a Splatter Suction Bomb be best, as they allow the weapon to throw hitboxes at enemies that try to pursue them, and it allows them to push them back and get into a better position. As for special, I don't think there's really a wrong answer, besides of course, the Reef Slider. This weapon does not want to get in the heat of battle. I'm thinking Wavebreaker, as they can throw it down, have it help them locate potential targets, all while being able to sit in a position more comfortable for it. It doesn't need to be forced into the front lines or out of position to use right. Just like the names, however, if you have a better kit idea, I'm willing to hear you out. This is my first time designing weapons from scratch, and I'm not a pro, so some people would definitely have a better idea than me. Though, keep in mind I am trying to balance these kits, not make them completely broken on purpose. So, you know, don't go too crazy. Or do, I don't care, it's up to you. So you know those silly little beach toys where they stick the top into the water and pump the tube to fill them? Yeah, that. I want that in the game. Call it nostalgic, but I think these can make for a fun weapon concept. And for years I thought maybe the Splatbrella was a tad inspired by these, but I don't think that's the case at all, and I just kind of looked at the handle and went, yeah, no, that's probably that. But no, they're just umbrellas. So here it is, the Streamshot, or Streamer. I don't know, I'm bad on names. Streamshot is a simple looking weapon, yet is quite strong as a hybrid tool, as it mixes fast firing speeds with long burst damage, making it versatile. Which sounds like hell, and it probably is. but let me explain first. This weapon is designed in a unique manner as a way to replicate the weapon's origin. That is, you'll charge the weapon by pumping it with ink. This charge then allows you to shoot a long ink stream between the range of like a Splattershot and Pro. Leaning towards the Pro, give it a little bit more distance as trade-off for the charge mechanic. When shot, it does shoot ink quite fast with pretty good accuracy and absolutely no fall-off, or maybe a little bit of fall-off. I think no fall-off at all might be a bit too extreme. It can shoot one long shot by holding down the trigger, or 4 tiny shots by tapping. Due to the charge mechanic and bad ink, it has high damage as compensation. I imagine damage varies between shots, the long shot around maybe like 70 to 80, and then tap shots being around the 50 gal, which would make it a 2-shot to splat. But remember, the tap shots do have lower range, and I know what you're thinking.
Wowie wooey, now that sounds fun to play against. But not actually.
Does sound like it'd be a fun thing to mess around with at the least, so I'd say that's a win. Though of all these things, I do think the weapon would be kinda weak. It has a charge mechanic, limited shots per charge, and high damage, which is nice, but nothing crazy. I mean, why wouldn't you just use like a 50 gal or Splattershot at that point? Splattershot is about a 3-hit kill, and 50 gal is slow, but also a 2-shot. And my answer is, it has infinite charge hold. Yeah, this thing can charge for as long as it wants before it has to fire a single shot, which mixed with its very fast firing speed should give it a reason to at least be considered over other weapons. Also, I totally would have made this a basic shooter if A, there wasn't another shooter in this video somewhere, and B, we have like too many boring shooters and I just wanted something that sounded fun to play with. I think this sounds fun. As for subs, this bastardized blaster absolutely needs a poking tool, an option that can be used in a pinch, or it'll simply be outclassed. So of that, I feel Burst Bomb or Torpedo is a good fit. Burst Bombs are great for poking and throwing out hitboxes, and this weapon needs all the close range help it can get, so I think that's a fair sub for it. As for a special, I really struggled to figure out what would be best for this one in particular. I wanted to say Zipcaster since we lack shooters that have that, but with how it handles, that would be way too punishing. Then I thought Inkjet, since only 1 or 2 weapons have it, and the added range and height could be nice, but also Inkjet is kind of underpowered and easy to just shoot down. It can't rush down people, so Killer Whale is kind of off the table. Honestly, after thinking over it, I think Trizuka or Ink Strike would probably be the best. They both ink alright for specials, they do well to displace and have kill potential, more Zuka. So of that, I'll leave it up to you guys. But personally, I think Burst Bomb Zuka would be a good kit for it. But like, that'd be an amazing kit on almost any weapon, so that's not saying much per se. So when I saw the Splitana wiper, my first thought was, oh they should make a lightsaber. I'm not even a big Star Wars fan, but I think lightsabers might be objectively badass. So for probably the coolest design we have, the Splitana Saber, a high-tech saber made out of the deadliest glow sticks, aka just normal glow sticks. This weapon is designed for close range combat, of course. This is where we come to the simpler weapons. No crazy new mechanics here is what I wrote in the script, but after reading the rest of the script, I don't think is true, but we'll go with that. Regardless, the Splitana Saber would have a fast strafe in between that of the Wiper and Stamper. It would be short to medium range, similar to the Splatana, but maybe a tad shorter for balancing reasons, due to something I'll be mentioning in a second. Its charge is the fastest of the Splatanas, yet the speed of the projectile is a bit slower. About Stamper speed, if not a bit slower than even that, and uncharged is quite fast, but nothing crazy. The reason for the lower range is to balance out the Saber's significantly bigger direct hit, with both the melee and the charge. The charged attack of the Saber has an explosion hitbox similar to a blaster, but smaller because we can't go too crazy if you want this to be balanced, and the melee simply has a bigger window for direct hit one-shots, meaning the hitbox would expand past the blade ever so slightly to give it more one-hit potential. With the slower charge, this theoretically should be balanced. Mind you, this explosion hitbox, even if hit directly, does about 60 to 70, but due to its wider spread, I feel keeping the damage close to the Stamper is probably fair. However, due to this, the speedy nature of its uncharged slashes sets it up for a speedy 1-2 combo. Though it's good to remember this explosion hitbox is only for the charge slash. The Saber is more or less a close-range side grade to the Stamper. It's stronger at close quarters and has unique strengths, yet the other Splatanas have things that simply can't do as well. I feel that makes it pretty balanced all things considered. Probably. Guess it depends on the kit at this point. So to make up for the shorter range, I believe a Fizzy might work well. It pokes, it paints, and it has kill potential even if less likely to splat outright. Once again, struggled with specials for this. I even reached out to some Splatana mains and pros, but it seems the general idea was Splatanas aren't greedy. Kinda will just take what it can get. With that, I was gonna do Booyah Bomb since it's my fave special in the game and no weapons I like run it, but I feel Killer Whale is a tad more fitting. I feel it's an easy setup and go special, as for the most part, it's just a push option, or used to pick off 1 or 2 players, which is kind of what this weapon is gonna specialize in, so it seems fitting. But that being said, it's also hella easy to dodge, so if you hate Killer Whale, just like pretend I gave it Booyah Bomb. Booyah's displacement and poking abilities are good at practically everything, so like, yeah. So with that, I was gonna do Booyah Bomb since it's my fave special in the game and no weapons I like run it, but I feel Killer Whale is a tad more fitting. I feel it's an easy setup and go special, as for the most part, it's just a push option, or used to pick off 1 or 2 players, which is kind of what this weapon is gonna specialize in, so it seems fitting. But that being said, it's also hella easy to dodge, so if you hate Killer Whale, just like pretend I gave it Booyah Bomb. Booyah's displacement and poking abilities are good at practically everything, so like, yeah. I've always had this thought in my head since Splatoon 2. Where the hell did all the old ink tanks go? Maybe if you were able to visit Inkopolis in Splatoon 3, they'd still be using those same ink tanks. Very well could be a location thing, based off of what is popular or just widely available there. Even then, what if they simply repurpose them into something new? Yeah, you see where I'm going. Introducing the Retroshot, a repurposed ink tank, now turned fully functional shooter. To keep with the namesake, this is by far the most tame design in terms of mechanical functionality. It's a no-frills shooter. Side note, I do think shooters probably don't need this many new weapons, as it's such an oversaturated category to begin with, and this is coming from someone who plays mostly shooters. Even then, I like to dabble in other classes because they're really fun. Regardless, that's not here or there. But this is just a fun idea, and I really couldn't see it being anything besides a shooter. That in mind, this is a high ink capacity shooter for obvious reasons. It's an ink tank. Higher damage values, I want to say between like Squeezer and the 56 gal, with a pretty slow fire rate and okay range, around Splattershot range. So after saying all that, I think to further distinct this from other shooters and not just make it Splattershot Pro, but good, it needs something to hit that inch where it's good, but different. My first thought was that perhaps a tap shot type mechanic like the nozzle nose, but then it will take over that weapon's niche and just be a better version of that. Or maybe not even a better version of that, because nozzle nose already has 2 variations. So, yeah. This is kind of my shooter dilemma of this design in particular. However, I think leaving it there could make it a pretty decent side grade. You know, something you can tell is as good as other weapons, but might not be your main pick over said weapons for one reason or another, and vice versa. And there you have it, 4 brand new weapon designs for Splatoon 3. I'm for sure more happy with this video than the last, though while I love all the designs I made, I feel some probably be over or underpowered in game. In the case of the last one, if you're not a Splatoon 1 veteran, then you probably see it as just another boring shooter and not much else. So of that one, it might feel a tad lame, but I think it would be weird to give a weapon like that a crazy gimmick, so it came out a tad boring in terms of gameplay potential, but I am personally happy with how it looks. And that's what matters the most to me, as the actual attributes can always be changed. I mean, that's the great thing about coming up with ideas. They can always be changed and improved upon later. Regardless, this was a ton of fun, and if you guys enjoyed it, I'll probably move on to designing subs, specials, or even a whole new class, though we'll pace it out as to not exhaust anyone, or myself for that matter. Meaning the next video is likely going to be something different. It's up to you guys, so tell me what you think, and I hope to see you around. Bye!